name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry, cause they love him in London and Paris and Tokyo, America, Scotland and Canada and Mexico. They say I believe in Joe Hendry, I believe in Joe Hendry. Wave your hands from side to side and say, oh, I believe in Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry is a prestigious way.
Oh, I believe in Joe Hendry.
Woo!
Hey guys, welcome to
WWE,
WWE The People, the podcast for the fans, by the fans. I'm Ted Terzansky, and with me is Andy Terzansky, the Hurricane. Danny No Go and Angry Joe can't join us tonight. They're busy tonight, but they will be here for the SummerSlam post show. They did send me their predictions, so we're gonna go through brief review of Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown. It's going to be very, very brief because not much to really report on because it was just mostly foreshadowing for SummerSlam. I think overall for Monday Night Raw, the CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. Again, we'll get into this in my predictions, but to me, it's all setting up for Rollins screwing Punk over.
Yeah, I could see that happening. Me personally, I still think Punk is going to win, but I think a pedigree is going to follow right at the very end of the match after he celebrates the victory, and then just boom, pedigree.
Yeah, I'll get into this later on when we discuss the match card, but yeah, definitely a lot of foreshadowing for SummerSlam. SmackDown, they pretty much and the Judgment Day too. I'm predicting a Judgment Day blow up. Again, I'll get into that in my predictions.
Okay.
SmackDown, it's teasing Roman's return. Roman is coming back. At least if the match card goes the way I think it's going to go, Roman's coming back.
I think so too. The only thing is, will it be Roman or will it be The Rock?
I don't know. I don't know if the final boss is expected anytime soon. They're building up for Roman. So if The Rock shows up again, like I said, we'll get into this in the predictions. NXT last night. I believe in Joe Hendry.
Say his name.
I love the say his name and he appears. I love the concert. If WWE ends up buying TNA, which I think is going to happen at some point, you know, they're doing a lot of crossovers. TNA it looks like they're struggling. But that being said, Joe Hendry is my favorite.
Yeah.
You know, I don't watch NXT that often, but when I do, Joe Hendry's on, and he's my favorite. So I believe in Joe Hendry, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. I don't have a TNA subscription, but he makes me want to consider getting one.
Yeah, TNA actually just had a show in Philly just recently.
Yeah, and I don't know if you heard it, and I know you're a big Hardy Boys fan, big Jeff Hardy fan.
Yeah,
and they said that the Hardys had interest in the NXT tag team titles. So I would be on the lookout to see them making a return soon.
I hope so. I hope so. Because otherwise it could be deleted.
SummerSlam. It's time to get it with our predictions. Like I said, this isn't going to be a long show tonight just because SummerSlam is right around the corner. And we've got predictions. Some of it we talked about last week. So let's start with the first match. And again, I don't know the order of the matches. I don't know. It hasn't been announced yet. And also the order of the matches is going to determine, in my opinion, who shows up and who doesn't.
Let's start with like your first match. So let's start with what match you had on your lineup card.
So first match, I think that they're going to start with, I think it's going to be Punk versus Drew. So I'll go with my prediction. You can go with yours, and then I'll read you Danny and Joe's prediction. So my prediction first will be, I'm predicting Drew McIntyre to win. I think Seth is going to screw Punk over, and McIntyre has been screwed over so many times. I don't see him. I don't see them having him lose another, yet another time, especially losing the Punk. Just given all the times he's been screwed over, I don't see it happening. I see Seth. Seth has a grudge with Punk. That is clear, and I think Seth is going to ruin it for Punk, and then that's going to set up a next feud, either for Survivor Series or possibly WrestleMania next year.
So my prediction, I think CM Punk wins, and I think at the very end of the match, CM Punk, or I'm sorry, Seth Rollins, he'll raise CM Punk's hand, and then boom, pedigree, boom, middle of the ring.
You think he throws in a stomp in there?
No, I don't think he'll do a stomp. Unless it gets Punk in a position, then yeah, maybe. But I'm pretty sure he'll nail at least a pedigree.
Okay, so Joey's got the same thing I'm predicting. He's thinking that Seth screws Punk and McIntyre wins. So again, and Danny thinks it's going to be a draw. He thinks that Seth is going to screw them both and do something like a double count out. I can see that happening.
That's an interesting one.
I think I can see that happening, but I'm gonna go more towards Seth. I think Seth hates Punk more than he hates McIntyre.
I agree.
So, all right, next match. Again, this is another one that's going to be timing. So, Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley. So my prediction is Liv retains and Dominic turns on Judgment Day.
I think Rhea wins.
You think Rhea retains?
I think Rhea retains, and I don't think it's going to be anything different.
So
and honestly, I think if anything, I don't think anything's going to be going on with Dominic. I think probably Liv will probably just slap Dominic like during the match or something. And I don't think anything's got a chance. So I think this is a Rhea Ripley easy win.
Yeah, you can also maybe predict I'm predicting that Dom turns on Leah or on Rhea. But part of me also thinks that Dom could unintentionally cost Rhea the match.
That's a good possibility.
So Danny made a really interesting prediction. So he predicted that now again, this all comes to timing. If Liv and Rhea are before Damian Priest's match, then Dom will turn on the Judgment Day. If it's before Damian Priest's match, Dom turns on the Judgment Day.
I think I could go either way, regardless of whether Damian Priest is before or Damian Priest is after. And not to jump already ahead, but like with Damian Priest, once he gets if he loses to Gunther, I think he's just gonna explode and just quit the Judgment Day. But then again, I'll jump to that when my prediction comes, like for that match. But I think that can go either way. I don't think timing's really a factor on that.
Fair enough.
I'm not saying I disagree with you, Ted. I just
listen. This is all prediction. What I'm thinking about doing maybe for future episodes is we get like a belt. We get like a belt, like whoever predicts the most. That's who's the defending champion until the next pay-per-view.
And do the losers have to chug a beer?
We can figure that out. again, I'll get more input from Joey and Danny on that.
Mhm.
But speaking of Judgment Day, so we covered Liv and Rhea. Now let's go to Damian versus Gunther. So my prediction for that is Gunther wins and Finn Balor costs Damian Priest the title.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and that I think we're pretty much unanimous on that.
Yeah.
Joey's predicting that Finn turns on, and Danny predicting that he's predicting that Finn unintentionally costs him the title.
I agree.
I think it's going to be intentional. And I think that's going to set up the next feud, and the next feud will be Finn versus Damian, and either that'll be at Survivor Series or another pay-per-view.
I think it's going to be Finn unintentionally costs Damian the title, and I think Damian just snaps and he'll choke slam Finn and then just leave the Judgment Day.
Now, if Gunther wins, the next opponent for Gunther, to me, logically, would be Brock Lesnar. But as long as it's a slippery slope because you don't know what the status is for Lesnar. Like right now, he's cleared, but and it looks like the lawsuit's been put on pause for now. But I think as long as Lesnar is still involved, or his name is still floating around in the lawsuit, I don't think Triple H is letting him go anywhere. He's just gonna pay him to stay home.
Mhm.
But again, that's just my opinion. But
What I think right now Triple H is trying to give Brock Lesnar every opportunity to find a way to get Lesnar in, but because of the lawsuits, it's going to take a lot more time. And what I think he's going to do is going to end up calling like an audible, just as a time slot killer. Which I mean, Gunther will win, but it'll be a time slot killer. He'll ask like Goldberg to come back or something, and it'll just be
not
it'll be a
Oldberg.
wasted pay per view.
I love Goldberg, but I love Goldberg, not Oldberg.
Yeah,
So
but
I don't see that's tough because it's just
well,
I
I
don't
think
see any
it's going to be a time slot killer. It's just
I
going to
don't
be a
see
time
any
slot
other I
killer.
don't see any other logical contender for Gunther other than Lesnar.
Joe Hendry.
Yeah, yeah, but Joe Hendry's still coming up. As
Mhm.
long as he's still in NXT and TNA.
Still,
He will Joe Hendry he'll make his debut at the Rumble.
Mhm.
He'll be in the Rumble, and then eventually when either his contract with TNA expires or WWE buys TNA, they'll find a way to incorporate him and he'll end up on Raw eventually. But it's still gonna be a while. I love Joe Hendry, but I still think it's gonna be a while. Okay, so we covered Damien and we covered Judgment Day. So Bailey versus Nia Jax. So my prediction is Bailey will retain. I don't know how, but I think Bailey will retain. And Tiffany Stratton will fail her Money in the Bank cash in.
I agree. That's that's my exact prediction. It's
Yep,
gonna.
and Joe and Danny are pretty much unanimous on that too.
Yeah.
One thing I might add is if on this all depends on if she's clear. If she is cleared, then you will see the return of Charlotte.
Yeah.
Charlotte will be Bailey's next challenger if she's cleared. Next one, Logan Paul versus LA Knight for the US title. So my prediction is pretty straightforward. LA Knight. Yeah.
Yeah. That's my exact prediction as well.
Actually, I don't think Joe gave me one for that. Danny did. Danny thinks Logan's going to retain.
I think LA Knight wins. I think
I
they've
want LA Knight winning,
yeah.
but
Oh,
credit where credit's due. Logan is doing a decent job.
mhm.
You don't have to like the guy, but if he's doing a pretty decent job as a heel, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I just don't know where you go. I just don't know where you go from there. So if Logan were to retain, who would be a next worthy opponent for Logan?
I mean,
I mean, there could be
there's a lot of possibilities.
yeah.
A lot of possibilities. I mean, the Bloodline. The new
Yeah,
members of the Bloodline. One of them could go for it, but I'm gonna say only one reason I think LA Knight's going to win because apparently they're again, I don't know the accuracy of this. I thought there was a new lawsuit that came up against Prime.
I I,
So
I
Logan might
remember
be a
you
little tied
mentioning.
up with that.
I remember you mentioning that to me before, and I'm like, with lawsuits coming up, and I'm drinking Prime. I'm like, oh,
Well,
crap.
the original one was against the energy drink,
Yeah,
not the hydration drink.
yeah. I've been drinking the energy drinks.
Well, you're still here, so that I take that you're okay. Uh, Next match. This is the triple threat between Braun Breaker, Sami Zayn, and Ilya Dragunov. Uh, I think Braun Breaker is winning.
I I picked Sami Zayn. I think Sami Zayn's going to retain.
Andy thinks Sami Zayn's going to retain. Joe thinks that I think Joe thinks that Braun's going to win as well. And Danny thinks Braun's going to win as well too because I feel like Braun has to win. Braun's become a beast. This is the second time he's going for the Intercontinental title against Sammy.
Mhm.
Braun's going to win. That's my prediction. I think Braun wins. This will most likely be the main event, and Cody versus Solo. So we were talking about timing earlier. The timing of this match is going to determine who shows up. Cody is retaining. There's no way I see him dropping the title to Solo. I don't see that happening. The question is going to be who shows up in the match and who shows up in the match after the match. So who shows up in the match, who shows up after the match. So if Cody's match is early, meaning that it's one of the early cards, could be even be the first match of the night. If that is the case, which I highly doubt, I'm almost positive this is going to be your main event.
I know. So this is going to be the main event.
So if Cody's match is first, then you're not going to see Roman. Eric Bischoff was talking about this on his podcast. I don't know if you listened to it, if you listen to 83 Weeks, but Bischoff was saying that he thinks it's a mistake for Roman to return at SummerSlam. I don't agree with him, but he's he's an expert at this. Um, if the match is early, what I think is going to happen is it'll be the usual bloodline annex. They're all jumping in, they're all beating up on Cody. Then not Sammy, Kevin Owens and Randy Orton will come back them up. They'll still be outnumbered. As they're still outnumbered, in comes John Cena. Because this is Cena's retirement tour. Eventually, I think Cena's final opponent is going to be Randy Orton. That makes the most sense to me. However, you got if they're going to go with Cena and Orton, they got to build a story for it. So the story would be they're allies helping Cody, and then eventually Orton will turn on Cena, or Cena will turn on Orton, one way or the other. That'll set up their feud for the final feud at WrestleMania.
I,
That being said, if the match is the main event, which I am expecting it to be, then Roman Reigns will return. Roman Reigns will return, and he will help Cody because it's going to be like a Batman Joker relationship. We were talking about this in episode 1, where Batman needs Joker or Superman needs Lex Luthor. Make sense? So Roman will return, and then that's eventually going to set up the Bloodline Civil War.
My bold prediction was going to be Solo wins. That was my bold prediction, is that Solo wins, but Roman comes in at the end, spoils his fun. But I think your prediction is actually a little better than mine, and I think Cody wins, and I think Roman comes. I don't think it's going to be Orton and Kevin Owens that come in at the end if the Bloodline attacks them. But I still think at the end, after Cody wins, Roman comes back. Now let me go back to your point about Cena. Now I think you're most likely right that Orton will probably be his final opponent, but I think he'll have an Intercontinental title run because I think they're going to go for the Grand Slam.
Grand Slam.
So at some point, I think he's going to have an Intercontinental title run. Also, he could probably be a good opponent for Gunther.
Cena
could be I think Cena could be a good opponent for Gunther at some point.
Yeah.
Say if Gunther wins on Sunday or Saturday, I'm sorry. I think at some point, we still got a lot of time until Mania.
Right.
There could be an open window for a challenge.
Okay.
Now I'm not saying Cena will win it, but I think Gunther and Cena will at least meet at some point.
Sounds good. Again, pretty much unanimous. Joe is predicting Cody to retain, but he says it's either going to be one or the other that comes. It's either going to be Roman or it's going to be Rock. Again, like I said, without his input right now, he thinks it's
towards Roman.
I'm leaning more towards Roman as well, but
I think Rock is busy with Hollywood stuff.
Rock is still a possibility.
Yeah.
I just haven't heard anything from a PR perspective on what The Rock has been doing. So normally, I've been following up on, WrestleMania, Ringside News. I haven't heard anything on The Rock. So, but never say never. Danny is also predicting the same. Danny is predicting he's predicting Roman saving Cody. So that's our predictions. Although I will say this for the SummerSlam card, there is a lot of missed opportunities for SummerSlam.
I agree.
I'm very disappointed that the Wyatt Six don't have any matches scheduled. Like, there's nothing going on with them and Chad Gable.
Yeah,
they should at least have a match in SummerSlam. But I also think that none of the tag team titles are on the line.
Yeah. How do you not have Karrion Kross and Xavier Woods?
Yeah, I mean, like so many possibilities. There's so many missed opportunities for matches, and I think it's going to happen at some point. Either Jade's going to turn on Bianca or Bianca's going to turn on Jade. That's going to set up a feud for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not going to see any of that SummerSlam. But I think this also makes the case of SummerSlam next year being 2 nights.
Possibly.
Because if I remember correctly, they were talking about making SummerSlam 2 nights and also and I don't know if the Rumble was still in discussion, but you can say, listen, if it makes the money, why not? Build it up. People are going to pay.
Going back to Jade and Bianca, I think Jade is going to be the one that's going to turn on Bianca.
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to be Bianca turning on Jade.
Yeah, 100%. I predicted that the moment they teamed up, I said, "Oh, she's totally turning on her."
Jade's known for heel turns.
Yeah,
and
speaking of heel turns, I don't know if you saw, did you see the news today about Shane O'Mac?
I briefly saw something on that, but
Oh,
what's elaborate?
he's had some meetings with Tony Khan.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Can you imagine? Can you imagine all of a sudden there's a simulcast of Dynamite and Raw? Here we go again. I now own AEW.
Oh, I bet, hey, Chris Jericho's just gonna be like, I left this crap. Now I'm brought back to this crap.
So
Completely random final thought. On this day in 1996, Kurt Angle won his gold medal with a broken neck.
intensity, integrity, intelligence. It's true. It's
It's
damn
damn
true.
true.
Andy, thanks for being with us tonight. If you like tonight's video, everyone, feel free to hit that subscribe button. We'll be back on Sunday for the post show for SummerSlam. So Danny and Joey will be here. Andy, I believe, will be here as well.
Yep,
So we'll have
I'm gonna
round
try to
panel
be there.
discussions, and it's going to be quite the Saturday. Andy, I don't know, what are you doing for SummerSlam?
Well, right now I'm gonna be at my house. Gonna be at my house because my brother-in-law and sister-in-law are coming over, and but I'm gonna be watching SummerSlam at home.
Yeah, I'll be doing the same. I'll probably get some pizza.
Mhm.
And I'll be watching it, and I might try to live stream it. I'm not sure yet. I'm still kind of, still new to the game, so I'm gonna try to figure that out and might live stream, but definitely Sunday we'll have a round panel discussion. Well, that's gonna do it for us tonight, everyone. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Later.